Hey guys, it's Melanie. Welcome back. Let's do another round of candle reviews. Up first today, we have a new fragrance for fall 2022 from HomeWorx called HomeWorx.Shop. I don't believe that this is a repackage of anything that Harry has ever done in the past. It doesn't really smell familiar to me, and it is not listed on the website as being a repackage at all. So if you are looking for something new to try from HomeWorx for the fall and you love a good gourmand, definitely check this one out. Spoiler, I love this. Whoa. This is one of those candles where I kind of judged it before burning it, and I shouldn't have, because it really transformed once I lit it up. And the performance on this is perfection. Like it's almost, and it's not quite there, but it's almost back to like the glory days of HomeWorx when they were first released. And I'm very, very pleased about that, especially after the performance issues with the spring and summer candles. So I will say, I ordered this from HomeWorx.Shop. If you missed my last HomeWorx fall candle haul, I will link that in the description box down below. I will also link where you can purchase this. I think this is also available now on QVC in a set of 2. On HomeWorx.Shop, you don't have to buy it in a duo. I'm not sure what the current sale is that's happening right now because I'm kind of pre-filming this video. I don't even know when this is going to go up. So if there is a sale of whatever kind, I will denote it in the description box right below this video. So always make sure you check that box out. I always put a ton of information down there for you guys. So when I ordered this from HomeWorx.Shop, it was delivered with the dreaded new lids, which I'm going to pop into frame right here. So these are a much cheaper metal lid. Again, I don't know what prompted the lid change because here's what the lids used to look like. Actually, this is the lid that I'm putting on top of this candle. I'm not using this one. I think it looks very cheap. Now, it's not a deal breaker for me. I know it's a deal breaker for some people, and I completely respect that, that opinion. For me, I have a lot of these HomeWorx lids because I burn through a lot of HomeWorx candles. A lot of times, like if the lids are like a limited edition type lid or something, I will keep them. So I have a lot of lids that I can use on these HomeWorx candles. So I'm just keeping my older ones and reusing them, but I know a lot of people are not happy with the new lid situation. Now, I will say, when I ordered my blueberry cheesecake candles from QVC, they still had the original metal lids. I'm not sure if the HomeWorx.Shop duo from QVC will have the original metal lids or if it will have this cheaper like Snapple cap type lid or not. Again, I don't think this was a super great move on their part because I think it's turning a lot of people off. It still serves the purpose of protecting the candle and, you know, obviously keeping that fragrance in there. The candles are still perfectly stackable with these new lids. It's just that I think we've all kind of become accustomed to the aesthetic of the HomeWorx candles, and to see that going down, that is definitely disappointing. And someone else had I can't remember who I was chatting with, but somebody else had mentioned that, like, you know, all these other candle companies are not changing their lids to a cheaper or less expensive option, so they're not quite sure that HomeWorx was. So again, I don't know if it was a shortage of supplies or if it is a way to cut costs. I don't know. They didn't address it, so we'll see what their decision is going forward, because I know a lot of people are not really happy about the change. So, but this candle just on its own, let's get into that. First of all, I love the label on this one. It is like the perfect fall, I guess, kitchen scene. There's pumpkins, there's apples, there's walnuts. It looks like there's some powdered sugar. It's just a really beautiful scene. And one of the things that I think HomeWorx does quite well are their labels. They have some of the most beautiful photography, and I love that they do the wraparound label. And this one just screams like welcome to like grandma's kitchen in the fall. It perfectly sets the mood for this particular fragrance. So let's read through the fragrance notes, and then we'll talk about what I pick up in terms of what my nose sort of notices the most in this. We'll talk about strength and throw, and then just an overall burn quality. I am just about at the halfway point with this one, so I feel like I'm at a good spot to be able to review that for you guys. Okay, all right, your fragrance notes here are creamy pumpkin, crushed gingerbread, sugared molasses, and whipped buttercream. This is such an interesting fragrance because even though nuts aren't listed in the description, they're implied on the label. They're not listed in the fragrance notes at all, but I get a really nice creamy nuttiness from this. A beautiful like pumpkin note. It's not necessarily like pumpkin pie filling. It's more of like that pure pumpkin note, if you will. Now, the crushed gingerbread, this was something that made me just a tiny bit nervous when I first ordered this one because I typically don't love gingerbread fragrances. I find that a lot of them are a little too spicy for my liking. They certainly smell a lot like typical American gingerbread that I've tried. I'm originally from Germany, and when I was growing up, like we had a soft gingerbread that was, it had almost like a slightly, I don't want to say like a cakey consistency because it's just like a very dense, maybe like a super dense cake type consistency. And it doesn't have that super spicy gingerbread note that a lot of American gingerbread has to my nose. This is more along the lines of that softer, more cake-like German gingerbread, and I love it. Honestly, it reminds me of home. It reminds me of my Oma. It reminds me of my youth. So this is kind of a good memory trigger type candle for me for sure. I love the gingerbread that's in here. It is not that typical spicy, like overbearing gingerbread at all. The sugared molasses was another thing that made me a little bit nervous. This actually comes across as more of like a brown sugar type note to me rather than molasses. Now, obviously, brown sugar has some molasses in it, and so you do certainly get a little bit of that like molasses in there, but the overall sweetness that I'm smelling here is more of like a brown sugared sweetness than just like a straight up molasses. And then the whipped buttercream is, it's so good. I feel like it sort of tones down the gingerbread a little bit more and also takes away maybe a little bit of that like excessive sweetness that the molasses is bringing in. And then obviously also there's that like creamy nutty note that I'm getting that is not mentioned in the description at all, but it's in here. This is a very warm, comforting fall gourmand that when you first get it, I think it smells good when you get it, but it's not until you light it that it just comes to life. And oh, it's so delicious, you guys. I'm gonna be picking up more of this for sure over the course of the fall. In my next order from HomeWorx.Shop, I will absolutely pop another one of these in there. I'm gonna try not to do too many more because I still have a lot of other fall stuff from previous years to get through from HomeWorx, and I'm still on a mission to whittle my collection down. But this is one that I know I'm gonna be craving, especially during October. Like, it just is so inviting and sweet, but not overly sweet. It smells like you're just kind of baking something, and I don't know. I'm a big fan of this one, and I did not think that I would be. let's talk about the performance, because that's where I think this one really actually shines. You guys, like the strength and throw of this is significant. I would put the strength of this at an 8. Now, I have been burning it in my Chester Hurricane, which is what you're seeing here. By the way, this is the small Chester Hurricane. You can find it at Pottery Barn. I do believe it is being discontinued. The glass that you see behind the pedestal there is the Hurricane part. I absolutely love this decor piece. So I have had this in the Hurricane for the most part, which I do think intensifies the strength and throw just a little bit, but I don't even think this one needs to be in a Hurricane to perform perfectly. The throw of it is also right around like a 7.5 to 8. Like this almost fills the entirety of the downstairs just on its own. Not smack you in the face style, but a really nice, just pleasant, noticeable fall scent. It's so yummy, you guys. I cannot say enough good things about this one in terms of the fragrance, the strength, and the throw, and especially after having a spring and summer season of things just being a little bit hit or miss. It's really nice to like get a HomeWorx candle and to light it up and to just like watch it come to life and perform absolutely beautifully. So in terms of overall burn quality, I am having a really great experience with that as well. It's not sooting on me. I am trimming the wicks in between each burn. I am not someone who trims my HomeWorx wicks on the first burn. I let them go. I know some people cut their wicks really short. I personally would not recommend that. But I do certainly trim my wicks when, after I blow it out before I relight the scent. So yeah, it's been going great. There's no soot. There's not really like mushroom tops that form on these particular wicks. But there is like, you know, there's like a little bit of a mushroom top. And so you definitely want to snip that off. The wicks aren't leaning for me. Now I'm burning my HomeWorx candles typically for about 2.5 hours at a time. I think if you burn them longer, there could be a chance for the wicks to become a little bit too long. So definitely keep an eye on it, because even after my like 2.5 hour burn, the wicks are certainly like significantly longer than when I started with the candle at the onset of the burn. So something worth keeping in mind. This one gets 2 thumbs up for me. It's gonna be a repurchase. I already know that. And if you are into delicious homey gourmand scents for the fall, this is one absolutely worth picking up. Let me know if you picked up Harvest Bake Shop from HomeWorx and what your thoughts are. Just put that in the comments down below. And I appreciate you taking the time to watch today. Please give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful, and subscribe if you're new. And I will see you with some more candle reviews later on. Take care. Toodaloo.